the regulations in Europe, Europe is overregulated. There are too many rules and regulations that make it very difficult to create a company, um, and do too much to protect large companies at the expense of small to medium-sized companies. So the net result is you have a bunch of very small companies in Europe, and then a small number of very large companies, but then not much in the middle. So there needs to be a way to go from being a small company, if you're making great products and services, to be able to scale to ultimately become a big company. But you have effectively regulatory capture by the large corporations in Europe. They don't really want to reduce the regulatory burden, and they like the fact that the regulations effectively protect their duopolies or monopolies in some cases. So really, I think it's up to the government to say, no, we have to foster small companies and allow them to compete and reduce regulations because the regulatory situation in Europe is stifling. And Brussels is amplifying that greatly. So you have both the local regulations, the country regulations, and then you have the EU regulations. There's so many regulations in Europe. It makes it extremely difficult to start a company and be successful. So I think radical deregulation is necessary in Europe. And if that means leaving the EU, it means leaving the EU. Well, I have no respect for the warmongers and the war profiteers and those who want the war to continue forever for their own purposes. This is, in my view, an evil thing. Because I'll talk to someone on the left and they'll say, we must not give in to Russia. I'm like, but you have no plan for success. So what you are suggesting then is that we send these poor kids into the meat grinder every day for nothing, with no end in sight, forever. That is cruel, inhumane, and senseless. So President Trump is right in this regard. There must be peace, and it's time for the slaughter of the young men and old men to stop. Why? It's time to stop this senseless death machine. That's really what it comes down to. There are those who like to have the appearance of empathy. But then they don't have the reality of empathy. Those who are pro-war, they have the appearance of empathy. They're hypocrites and liars. If you want the reality of empathy, we must stop the senseless everyday death that lasts forever. That's what true empathy is. We should care about those men who are dying in the trenches in Ukraine and Russia, who didn't want to be there. They're conscripted. They're forced to be there. They're forced to be. The Ukraine conscripted, Russia conscripted. They're forced to kill each other. Why? For how long? It's time to stop. I hope that the United States and Europe can establish a very close partnership. We obviously are. There's an alliance already, but I'm hopeful that there can be a very close relationship with America and Europe. And I'm hopeful, for example, with the tariffs, that at the end of the day, I hope it is agreed that both Europe and the United States should move, ideally, in my view, to a zero-tariff situation, effectively creating a free trade zone between Europe and North America. And that would be that's what I hope occurs. And also more freedom of people to move between Europe and North America, if they wish. If they wish to work in Europe or wish to work in America, they should be allowed to do so, in my view. So that has certainly been my advice to the president. As a general rule, you can tell which side is the good side and which side is the bad side by which side wishes to restrict freedom of speech. The side that is restricting freedom of speech, uh, that would have been sort of the Hitler, Stalin, Mussolinis of the world. They had very strong censorship, very strong restrictions on speech. That's one of the signs that they are the bad guys. And so, in fact, a restriction on speech and large government is fundamentally fascist, obviously. Um, so, ironically, in pushing for censorship, it makes it very clear that the left is the side that is against freedom, and freedom of speech is simply one of many freedoms that we should have as a civil society. Because ideas should win on the strength of their arguments. They should not win because they are suppressed. Yes, the mass immigration is insane and will lead to the destruction of any country that allows unfettered mass immigration. That country will simply cease to exist. At the end of the day, it is a numbers game, a numbers situation. If there are 8 billion people in the world, and let's say you're a country of 50 million, 60 million, or for a medium-sized country, but even for a country like the United States, which is 350 million, given that there are 8 billion people in the world, it only takes a few percent of the rest of the world to move to the country to where it is no longer that country. A country is not its geography. A country is its people. This is a fundamental concept that is truly obvious. I mean, if you took the people of Italy and you teleported the people of Italy to say some part of the United States, it would still be Italy. But if you teleported a bunch of people from some other part of the world to Italy, where they're telling people no longer because they've been teleported to America, then the region, the geographic region, would no longer be Italy. It would be that other country. A country is its people, not its geography.